Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, Victoria police are looking for this man. He's wanted in an inappropriate photography investigation. And 2 people were killed in Amarillo at a private party. Plus, gymnastics team Dr. Larry Nassar stabbed in federal prison.
Well, folks, here it is. One more time. We're going through heat wave number 2. The heat dome is coming at us from the west. It's going to be spreading over us, and we're looking at temperatures near 100 for about 7 to 10 days. So we'll have the grim facts coming up in just a moment.
And the Victoria Generals baseball team win streak increases to double digits. That and more in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the night off. A 29-year-old man from Gonzales died in a crash Sunday night. It happened just after 9 p.m. on FM 794, about 7 miles north of Gonzales. The DPS says Rene Ramirez was traveling southbound when he lost control on a curve and hit a tree. His vehicle caught fire and he died at the scene. Now, Victoria police released 2 photos of a man wanted in an inappropriate photography case. It happened Friday around 3:30 p.m. at the Target on Northeast Zacklins Parkway. Police say a man followed 2 different women into dressing rooms and used his cell phone to take inappropriate pictures. He was confronted and left the store. If you recognize him, call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. Victoria County Commissioners approved Dr. John McNeil to serve as board member for the Central Appraisal District. Dr. McNeil is a school board member in the Nursery ISD. He'll join 5 other board members. Louis Smetlik resigned from the position on May 12th. The Appraisal District Board hires the chief appraiser and sets the budget. 2 people were shot and killed in Texas when gunfire broke out at a party. Authorities in Amarillo said the shooting happened early Sunday. 1 man died at the scene while another died after being taken to a nearby hospital. 5 other people are recovering from non-life-threatening injuries and no arrests have been reported. And now with that, let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis, who's going to give us those grim details for these weeks. Ooh.
Yes, I hate to tell you folks, but we are back into the soup here, or into the sauna, whatever you prefer. The analogies are going to be, it's just going to be hot, okay? These are the observed highs today. We got up to 98 and you sort of felt the oppressive heat out there. Well, that's going all the way out to the west coast, and that is going to affect not only Texas, but the southern half of the country. So other people are going to be living through what we were living through last month. We'll have more on your weather coming up in just a moment. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. We turn now to a developing story out of Florida where convicted former USA gymnastics team Dr. Larry Nassar was stabbed in prison over the weekend.
Convicted former USA Gymnastics team Dr. Larry Nassar suffering substantial injuries, including an apparent collapsed lung after being stabbed 6 times in the neck and back. A source tells ABC News, saying Nassar was housed in a unit with all inmates convicted of sexual assault, and it's unclear what the motive may have been. A source telling ESPN that Nassar was stabbed during an altercation with another incarcerated person while serving time at this high-security federal prison in Florida for sexually assaulting multiple gymnasts, including superstars Simone Biles and Aly Raisman. The Bureau of Prisons confirmed that an inmate was assaulted on Sunday afternoon and said no one else was hurt. Sources telling ABC officials have identified at least 1 suspect, a fellow inmate, but are looking through video footage to see if anyone else was involved. Nassar was convicted on both federal and state charges after dozens of women came forward accusing him of sexually assaulting them, some addressing Nassar directly in this Michigan courtroom back in 2018 when he was sentenced by a state judge.
Larry meticulously groomed me for the purpose of exploiting me for his sexual gain.
I have experienced flashback nightmares of the abuse.
More than 150 women giving victim impact statements in the case.
You seem to have a hard time looking at me now, but you didn't when I was half naked on your table.
Nassar pleading guilty, addressing his accusers in court.
There are no words that can describe the depth and breadth of how sorry I am for what has occurred.
Sources tell ABC Nassar is in stable condition, but the extent of his injuries is unclear. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The state lawmaker who represents Uvalde is running for senator against Ted Cruz. Roland Gutierrez is using a video on Twitter to make the announcement. He's an advocate for gun safety, and in his first campaign message, he referenced last year's Robb Elementary School shooting where a gunman killed 19 elementary school students and 2 teachers. Gutierrez accuses Texas Republicans of neglecting safety system. He faces U.S. Representative Colin Alfred, a former NFL player and Obama administration official. And this is going to bring us to your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, who are you supporting in the U.S. Senate race so far? Is it Roland Gutierrez, Colin Alfred, or Ted Cruz? Well, according to these results right here, 12% are for Gutierrez, 23% are saying Alfred, and 65% stand at Ted Cruz. We want to keep on hearing from you on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update tonight at 10. Now, CBS Austin reports trucks full of water barriers arrived in Eagle Pass Friday, marking the beginning of the new state's strategy to deter migrants from entering the country illegally. From above, you'll be able to see the red floating barriers, and under the water, there will be a series of anchors and netting to prevent people from crossing in the Rio Grande. Governor Greg Abbott announced this plan back in June, and the first installation will be 1,000 feet long. This next story is disturbing due to its content, but it doesn't feature graphic video. A Tennessee man is charged with drugging and raping children. He was a popular soccer coach near Nashville who allegedly used sports to attract minors. Now, police are trying to find any additional victims.
When we got to these soccer fields off Glass Lane, we didn't come to watch these men play.
Does this guy look familiar to you?
We wanted to find out about a man who once did.
Do you know who that is?
We showed people at this tournament this picture. It's 63-year-old Camilo Hurtado Campos.
I remember when we were little, he used to invite us, but we never went and played with him.
Franklin police say detectives found hundreds of videos and photos on his phone raping at least 10 unconscious boys between 9 and 17 years old. Campos has lived in Franklin for 20 years. In the Hill Estates neighborhood, but more recently on Glass Lane.
Neighbors tell me that Campos lived in this white complex behind me, in the unit at the very end. That happens to be in between 2 schools and across from the soccer fields.
Franklin police say Campos was a regular at school playgrounds where he approached kids and recruited them to his soccer team. After gaining their trust, he invited them to his home where he drugged and raped them.
Didn't want to be here at all because he wasn't feeling comfortable.
Wilmer Blanco runs the Friendship League at the park across from Campos' house. He says he knew Campos used to play for a short time on this league, but wasn't kind to teammates. Now, he feels for the victims.
So it's going to be probably difficult for their families to come up, but he just wants them to get close with their parents and make sure their parents know what they're doing.
Switching gears, just a few minutes ago, Forest Street closed between Bridge and Main Street so workers can start on the De Leon Plaza expansion project. The project will convert this block of Forest Street into an expanded pedestrian and performance area with a pavilion, shaded seating, a public restroom, and space for food trucks. The project should be completed in March 2024. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6, in California, residents find racial slurs against Jews in a small neighborhood. Also ahead, Madonna is out of the hospital and on the way to recovery.
Fentanyl crisis, unmasking the deadly wave. Join 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel for a 25 News Now Extra, Thursday, July 13th at 10 p.m. We focus on the alarming rise of the deadly drug fentanyl.
What you know about fentanyl is probably maybe 10% of the reality.
Fentanyl is easy to make and cheap to get, and it has flooded communities across the United States, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Don't miss this eye-opening extra that could save lives.
9 million people are under flood alerts across the Northeast, including in parts of New York, Massachusetts, and Maine. In Vermont, the National Weather Service issued a flood warning emergency. By early Monday, up to 6 inches of rain already fell, and 10 people had to be rescued from a campground when the bridge washed out. Meanwhile, in New York, one woman was killed after getting swept away by the flood waters. We now head to California, where a woman is distraught after finding anti-Semitic flyers in her own neighborhood.
These flyers were found on cars around the San Carlos community and other areas in San Diego. They have messages of hate against people in the Jewish and LGBTQ communities.
This should not be out there in the public.
Adele and her husband Scott found the flyers around their neighborhood yesterday.
I was crying when I first saw these because it breaks my heart that people can be so cruel.
For what it did to her, I was so angry.
They walked up and down the streets, removing the flyers from cars. For Adele, the messages are extremely painful.
As a Jewish person, they say here that the Holocaust didn't happen. I lost so many family members that could have been here today to the Holocaust.
Adele has seen posts on social media from people in Del Cerro, Santee, and other neighborhoods that say they have also found similar flyers. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time she's experienced this kind of hate.
Back in the 80s, when I first moved in, I was targeted as a Jew, and they put Nazi slogans all over the front of my house and spray painted cars, and I shied away from my faith because it really just scared me to be Jewish.
She says all the feelings she experienced decades ago came rushing back. She plans to report the flyers to the police and hopes others do too.
And these people need to be arrested for hate crimes because this is a hate crime. They are trying to make people hate the Jews, and that's not fair and it's not right.
According to the group Stop Anti-Semitism, synagogues in both Del Cerro and San Carlos have reportedly stepped up security measures as a result. Anti-Semitic incidents have nearly tripled in the last 6 years, according to the Anti-Defamation League.
Madonna says she's on the road to recovery and hopes to be on road for her rescheduled tour date soon. The iconic singer is out of the hospital after her agent said a bacterial infection landed her in the ICU. On Instagram, Madonna says she plans to kick off her celebration tour in October instead of this month. Live Nation confirms all North American dates have been postponed.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. There it is. One more time. We're going through heat wave number 2. It's going to be with us for 7 to 10 days. So we're looking for pretty much what we did last time. We're going to do it again. It starts today. We'll have the latest on your forecast and what to expect in just a moment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back, everybody. Remember the days when it was just hot for summer, not ridiculously hot? Well, this is another ridiculous time period that we're going to be under the gun. Remember last month we had that oppressive heat? Well, this is version number 2 as we go into another heat wave. We're looking at 95 right about now. We did get up to 98, and you probably noticed the difference between, what, Thursday, Friday, and then today. Yeah, well, it's going to be like that for a while. In fact, this is going to be a prolonged period of oppressive heat that's going to affect not just us, but pretty much the entire southern half of the country. So we're going, let's do from west to east. Temperatures in Arizona and New Mexico, about 10 degrees above normal. Temperatures for Texas, 5 to 8 degrees above normal. And then in the southeast, they're going to be above normal as well. So this is going to be a prolonged heat wave that is going to really tax not only people, animals, vegetation, the crops that are still out there, but our energy services as well. I mean, we're going to all be using air conditioning, so you can imagine how much is up there. Now, the temperatures tomorrow go up about a degree or 2 for much of the state. We're going to stay at about 98. And the reason for that is that we have so much humidity along the coast. Humid air doesn't allow the temperature to rise as much. It's sort of absorbed by the water vapor, and but you will feel this stuff. And now as I broaden out here, you can see how a couple of showers are popping up in the southwest. They were hoping that they were going to get a nice little monsoon flow. This time of year, the ocean, the currents, the wind comes up from the Gulf of California and gives them some nice afternoon thunder showers. But that's not going to last very long, as the big bubble of high pressure is really going to put the brunt on everybody. Now, we're going to be back to the oppressive humidities right about there all the way through this coming weekend. So last month, you dress light clothing. If you're outdoors, I prefer you wear long sleeves. Yeah, you're going to stick to it, but at least you don't get sunburn. And then make sure you check on folks that may not have air conditioning. It's going to be that serious over the next couple of days. Weather hazards, we have heat advisories up for Monday. They'll be up for Tuesday as well, and probably for the next 7 days. The entire state of Texas, the entire southern half of the country is going to be dealing with it. Now, watch this. This is rather impressive. In the orange, you can just call that regular, very hot. But then when we have this heat dome on top of it, remember, a heat dome is high pressure that's so high, it's basically compressing the air down. And like a bicycle pump, you compress that air, it gets warm. So we're going to be under that, and that's going to be spreading out into our area over the next 7 days. So folks, we've got some serious weather to deal with. It's not changing, it's just brutally hot through the extended term. Tomorrow, your day planner for Port Lavaca gets you up to 94. Tomorrow, we start at 80 in the Cuero area, but you get up to 99 because you're farther inland. And for the next 7 days, folks, oppressive heat as we hover near 100, and our heat index will rise up to about 115 to 118. So try and stay cool. That's your 7-day forecast. Just reminding everybody, we do have this QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. We'll toss it back to Karina.
Thanks, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez here early.
Look at the highlights from last night's CONCACAF quarterfinal game. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, the Victoria Generals are red hot and have won 11 in a row. Sports reporter Zach Brown is live at Riverside Stadium with the latest on the hottest team in the Texas Collegiate League. Zach?
Thanks, Gino. The Generals trying to cook up a dozen wins in a row this evening. They welcome the Baton Rouge Rougarou to town, and this is actually the team they began this fantastic run against, and it should be a fun one. Last time these two teams met, Braylon Owens took the mound and threw 6 innings of no-hit baseball. In fact, he took himself out of that game to protect his arm. The Generals won that game 12-3. The season series between these two tied at 5 apiece, and Baton Rouge has been struggling of late. They are 2-8 in their last 10 games, losing last night 8-2 at home against the Seguin River Monsters. We talked about how great the pitching was for the Generals last time these two teams met. Well, according to the TCL website, the Generals still have the best pitching staff in the league. And on the mound for them tonight, Jack Hagan, who in his last 21 innings has allowed just 4 earned runs with 24 strikeouts, averaging more than 1 per inning. And of course, can't forget about that offense too, the best in the league in terms of runs scored with 202 so far this season. Baton Rouge, for comparison, only 163 runs scored. And as I mentioned, going for win number 12 in a row this evening. We don't know officially what that record is, but when you start talking about double-digit wins, they can't be too far off. First pitch in just over 30 minutes. The guys are already stretching, warming up. So come on out, root for the home team. We'll have highlights tonight at 10. Reporting live, Zach Brown, KVU TV 25 News Now Sports.
Thanks, Zach. The United States team is eyeing the CONCACAF Gold Cup trophy, but had to go through Canada first. The game was silent early on, but then it would explode in the end. The Americans got on the scoreboard first, scoring a beautiful header from Jones to Vasquez in the 89th minute. And that looked like it was going to be it, but a handball in the second half of stoppage time would end in a penalty kick for the Canadian team, and Canadian Victoria goes up the middle and ties the game. This is now, we're heading into extra time. Canada had all the momentum. Canadian forward Scheffelberg strikes a knuckleball into the back of the net. Canada up 2-0 with only 1 half left in overtime to play. The Americans' time was ticking down. The ball goes into the box and off a Canadian into the back of the net to tie the game with just 5 minutes left in the game. But that would not be it. Now we're in penalty kicks. Canada goes up first. This time Victoria tries to go up the middle again, but it's saved by Turner. The United States with a chance to go up 3-2 in PKs. A very close one finds the side netting. Now all the pressure on Canada, and this one goes high off the crossbar. USA wins and will prepare to play Panama next on Wednesday, July 12th. The winner will take on the winner of Jamaica and Mexico in the final. Well, it is being reported that San Antonio Spurs prospect Victor Wembanyama is not going to play any more Summer League games. The Spurs' #1 overall pick scored 27 points and totaled 12 rebounds in his second game against the Portland Trail Blazers. This was better than his Summer League debut, where he shot 2 from 13 and only scored 9 points with 8 rebounds. In an interview after the game, Wembanyama said he is going to listen to Coach Popovich and is ready to make sacrifices and give 100%. Coach Pop just signed a new 5-year deal worth $80 million. He led San Antonio to 5 NBA championships. Well, that's your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thanks. We're back in a moment. The Great Gatsby goes up for auction. We have those details straight ahead. A rare signed first edition of F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby is going up for auction. According to Auction House, it's part of a massive collection that belonged to Rolling Stones drummer Charlie Watts. Other items up for sale include rare editions of books by George Orwell, Agatha Christie, and James Joyce. They could sell anywhere from $1,000 to $383,000. The sale will take place in London on September 28th, as well as online from September 15th to the 29th. Great Gatsby. You know, I have that copy of that book, but I think I'm okay with the one I got.
Yeah, take it a Kindle.
I would buy any one of those books just to know that Charlie Watts read it. You know, it's like,
Oh,
hey,
it's personal collection?
Yeah, that
How
would
rad
be
is that?
awesome.
How pretty cool is that?
That would be cool. Very cool.
What's not cool though?
I've seen the movie.
Are these temperatures you're about to give us though? That's
Well,
not
that's
cool.
not cool.
At all.
I'm not cool. I'm not cool for quite some time, folks. 10 days. We've got heat wave number 2 in store. So we need to find ways to stay cool. Gino, what would you do to stay cool?
Well, I'm going to the golf course this weekend, so I'll probably bring an umbrella. I'll try to stay cool that way.
Yeah,
and
stay
a
out
bunch of water.
Direct sun is going to be tough.
And sunscreen.
And Karina?
Watch for those wrinkles.
And Karina? How are you going to stay cool?
How am I going to stay cool? Oh, probably not step a foot outside.
Sleep till noon, then go to work.
Go to work, eat some watermelon, keep it in.
Yeah, you're going to have to look for ways, folks, because we're back to where we were last month, which is a prolonged 7-day streak of oppressively hot days. So we're just trying to make light of a bad situation.
That's right. And what will you do to stay cool?
I'll come to work and I'll sit in my office.
In the AC.
It's nice here.
It's nice not step a foot outside. I don't blame you. That's what I'm going to do. So, you know, you enjoy that course.
Oh, you know it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.